How's everybody doing? This is Forewarned Long Ago. Before I read any more about the ancient guardians, I would like to read some of these Xerox copies that are faded and hard to read, dating 1977, 1978, 1980, and 1954. So, I read your letter this is April 1980. I read your letter of the 13th with considerable interest. It seems difficult to believe that I have finally found someone that is as interested in finding out the true story as I am. I did not know about any entities visiting us. I did not know any aliens were here. I was accustomed to going out onto the range and had a number of security clearances that enabled me to enter the base. Although I carried a Q clearance from the Atomic Energy Commission, as well as an interagency top secret clearance, I was investigated for a special top secret clearance in order to operate in a certain area. I can only give you a series of disconnected observations that I made in the hope that they may tie in with something you may know. I only saw the entity one time. I knew it appeared silently as I was present. He appeared at night. I was told he never came in the daytime. He was slightly larger than me. I am 5'9" and weigh 180 pounds. At no time did I hear anything that sounded like a conversation or any other kind of communication. I was working on their radios at the time. When he appeared, they just, quote, died. However, since I was there to work on the radios, I really didn't think anything about it. They started working again when he left. Also, there were a number of times that I was called out to work on a radio and could not find anything wrong with it. They used radio frequency to communicate. It was in the regular commercial VHF band and also a similar frequency. At one time I had a frequency written down, but now I have no idea where it is. I really think that someone with a scanner could pick it up if they were to use a directional antenna. When I send this letter to you, I will try to get a USC and USGS map of the area and will mark the location where I was. There was a radar station at the north end of my hometown. I knew the operator there. We were talking about the site one day when he mentioned that he was always picking up UHF communications from that site, but was told to ignore them. I remember him telling about one time he picked up a communication and he was told there would be serious consequences if he ever talked about any of it. He just couldn't stress enough how tight the security was. It was almost paranoid. The reason that I knew he was appearing and disappearing was that I would be told something like, he will be here in a few minutes, or he will be leaving in a few minutes. I remember that any referrals of him were it, them, it. I don't think I ever heard the pronoun him. The communication frequencies were in the 200 megahertz range. I believe them in a standard set of government frequencies, either just above or just below the 220 megahertz band, and their communications were near those frequencies. I hope you can shed some light on some of these dark areas. Should any other thoughts come to your mind, please let me know what you remember. Hopefully, if I can get things settled down to a dull roar, I will be able to start checking in on a more permanent basis. Of course, should you have any questions or want further clarification, please contact me. These are just hard to read. They're faded and cut out. April 1980, same one just over. A secret operation was being performed under unbelievable security precautions. An entity had been sent to Edwards Air Force Base. Upon arrival, 21:32 hours, at Site L-9 LSAT, the vehicle stopped to make a check at the fence line. At this time, it was observed a bright, shining light at the rear of the fence of L9. There's a small hill approximately 50 yards behind L9. We stayed with the vehicles and drove to the source of the light to investigate. As we approached the crest of the hill, we observed an individual dressed in uniform and wearing a helmet with a visor. He was immediately challenged. However, the individual refused to stop and kept walking towards the rear fence line of L9. I aimed my M16 at the intruder and ordered him to stop. The intruder turned towards me and emitted a bright flash of intense light. The flash of light struck my rifle, disintegrating the weapon and causing second and third degree burns to my hands. Corporal, I can't read his name, immediately took cover and concealment and radioed the situation to our CO, who in turn radioed a distress to line control. He then responded to my position and carried me back to the vehicle. As I was being carried back, Corporal aimed and fired 2 rounds from his M16 rifle. 1 bullet struck the intruder in the back and 1 bullet struck the intruder in the helmet. It fell to the ground. However, approximately 15 seconds later, he returned to an upright position and fired several flashes of light at us again. Corporal took cover and the light missed him and me. The intruder returned to the east side of the hill and disappeared. Corporal followed him. The intruder climbed vertically upwards and disappeared over the eastern horizon. MPB-1s arrived at the site at 22:30 hours and set up a security perimeter. Elite service teams arrived at the site at 01:20 hours and took radiation readings. Missile maintenance examiners later reported they found components missing from the warheads. At 01:25, Colonel Spackler, wing commander, arrived at the site. Declassified, official use only. Additional information: I was treated at the base hospital by Captain Sandora for second and third degree radiation burns to each hand. I then woke up in an unspecified location. My rifle could not be located. A lot of explaining do you lose your M16, Bob. Ambassador Griffin, Grenada, United Nations. I wanted to convey to you my views on our entity visitors, popularly referred to as aliens. I'd like to suggest what might be done to properly deal with them. I believe these entities are a little more technically advanced than we are. I feel that we need to have a top-level coordinated program to scientifically collect and analyze data from them. We need to concern ourselves with any type of encounter and determine how to interface with these visitors in a friendly fashion. They may not accept us as fully qualified team members, you think? This acceptance would have tremendous possibilities on advancing our world in all areas. Certainly then it would seem that the UN has a vested interest in handling this subject properly and expeditiously. I should point out that I am not an experienced professional researcher in this area. I do feel that I am somewhat qualified to discuss them since I have been into the fringes of the vast areas in which they travel. Also, I did have occasion in 1951 to have 2 days of observation of many flights with them. They were able to travel at higher altitudes from east to west over Europe. I would also like to point out that they were very reluctant to discuss their technology. A great number of people who have indiscriminately sold fake stories and forged documents, abusing their names and reputations without hesitation. If the UN agrees to pursue this project and to lend their credibility to it, perhaps many more well qualified people will agree to step forth and provide help and information. I am looking forward to seeing you soon. Sincerely, I cannot read this man's signature. Colonel, U.S. Air Force / astronaut, parentheses, retired. November 15th, 1979. Biblically speaking, choose this day whom you will serve. Everyone has a right to die in hell, but a lot of people are too academic to live forever. Doesn't matter what they were or are being called today. Ancient ones, Melachim, we have found out ancient guardians. Today they're aliens or entities, UFOs, but they have always been here. And every culture has stories of them being here with us. It's nothing new. We are just too educated today to accept what these things are. And they are things. They can be seen infrared. They had other names in the past. Quetzalcoatl, Marduk, Baal, Zeus, Thor. I mean, this the same things. They just masquerade. Sometimes they can even look like an Melachim of light. Later.